Reverend, do you think I can be saved if I don't believe in Jesus Christ? How does it go?
I'm one of those Christians who does believe that you can be saved, that non-Christians can be saved and are. There are many wonderfully spiritual and holy people in all paths of life, in all religions. It is, to be honest, a struggle within our theology, because there are certain tenets in Christianity which would seem to be exclusivistic. We have the passage in the Gospel of John that says, quotes Jesus as saying, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father but by me." And this has been used by Christians down through the years to say that you must be a born-again Christian to be saved and to get into heaven. So people such as Gandhi or Rumi or Muhammad could not be in heaven. That does not fit with my theological understanding, nor does it fit with my experience living in a multicultural society. I think God's grace is far beyond human understanding, and the way to the reward that we all seek is open to all people.
Dr. Anwar, there is just in Islam again and again, believers and unbelievers. And I mean, how do you think that we can actually all sit and coexist peacefully when we think we hold the truth?
It's fascinating, because if you look at the history of Islam, and then if you look at the scripture, Quran, Prophet Muhammad has said that my message is the continuation of the message of Abraham. And if we look at the basics, we also see that in order to be a Muslim, one has to be a Christian and a Jew. And then you actually continue on to be a Muslim as a continuation of the same message. So, and if you look at the Quran, it mentions more than once in the Quran that the people who believe in God, the day of, the judgment day, and also are the righteous, are the ones who are going to go to heaven, amongst the people who are Christians or Jews or the Sabian. And then that's, I think, what, the convert, sorry. And then that's what is critical for us to understand, that our Quran is telling us that the people of other faiths will go to heaven if they believe in the oneness of God and the day of judgment. And I think that opens it up for the people of the Abrahamic faiths.
Now, I doubt very much, Rabbi, that I would have migrated, and I think there are many people, if the United States was the United Christian States of America. So what do you think informed the founding fathers of America, really? Because at that point, they didn't really have that problem. I mean, immigration wasn't such a big issue, even though they themselves had mostly migrated, but they were much more a homogeneous kind of a people. But our founding fathers in America insisted on separating religion or the church from the state.
There's a lot been written lately about that. In fact, there's a wonderful book that just appeared called Founding Faith. And the author tries to demonstrate that originally the intent of the founders of this nation, at least those who first came to these shores, was to create a Christian nation. But they understood that there had been so much religious strife in Europe that they wanted to avoid that strife, and therefore created a system that in fact separated church and state. But it was very clear to them what faith the people who lived on these shores should hold. They weren't sure what brand of Christianity that the people should believe in. In 1654, when the first Jews came to what is now the United States, landing in New Amsterdam, which is now New York, they were told they couldn't stay. They couldn't stay because they couldn't serve in the militia. They couldn't serve in the militia because in order to do so, one had to swear allegiance to Jesus Christ. And finally, an arrangement was worked out whereby the Jews promised that they would take care of their own, that they wouldn't be a burden on the state. And it's under those conditions that they were allowed to stay. And thankfully, and I would say thank God, people began to realize how valuable it was for this society to be open, to welcome people of other nationalities, to welcome people of other faiths. And I can speak as a Jew by saying that never before have we lived in a place which affords us as much freedom as this country does.
So they kind of stumbled. I mean, they learned some lessons from history of Europe, They kind of were grasping or grappling with the issues of which Christian brand, but eventually they were very firm, I think, once they wrote the Constitution, that there should be such a separation.
Yes, they had the advantage of being able to start all over again and to start a new way, giving up some of the traditions of a church and state, the linking of the two, that of course had existed in Europe for so many years, because they saw that actually, while religion can be a liberating force, it can also, when it's allied too closely with the state, can be an oppressive force. And they wanted people to be able to worship freely. And they realized, as different groups were coming to this country, that not everybody was going to be a Puritan. Not everyone was going to be an Episcopalian. Not everyone was going to be a Catholic. But that we needed a state that could protect the religious integrity of each of those faiths, so that each of those faiths could flourish on its own. And then, as more and more groups came, as Jews came, and as other non-Christian